What if I told you the AI assistant you're using right now is like a Swiss Army knife, but you're only using one blade instead of 27? Most people are still only using 10% of what ChatGPT can actually do. And today, I'm fixing the way you use ChatGPT for your work, for your creativity, for your problem solving. I'm going to show you 27 insanely powerful ChatGPT tricks. But here's what's really crazy. Most people are getting terrible results because they're using ChatGPT like my mum's searching on Bing instead of creating an operating system that works for you. But the first thing I'm going to show you dramatically changes everything, even if you're just using the free version. I want you to head up to this top right corner, click on your little icon, and hit Customize Chat GPT. Now, this is where the initial magic really happens because it allows you to introduce yourself, get better and more personalized responses. So if you feel like, I'm just not really that enamored with the way Chat GPT is responding to you, you can tweak it here. So if it's your first time using Chat GPT like this, you'll get a blank screen like this, and you can put your information in. You can tell ChatGPT what to call you. You can tell it what you do to give it some context about your life, particularly if you're using it for work. That's really handy. So you could say, Elliot, I'm an SEO specialist, and you can even then describe what traits ChatGPT has. Now, if you put nothing else in this box, you can put something in there like you're an expert, you're skeptical, you do research. This is going to help you get better results instead of ChatGPT always just giving you really positive reinforcing feedback. You can ask it to be skeptical and act like a researcher, but you can also add other stuff in there like use an encouraging tone. You can add what you want and try it around to see how you get on. So that's a really important part of traits you should add in there. The other thing you could do is you can put other things about you that you want ChatGPT to know. So I could easily say, like, I run a YouTube channel about ranking on Google and using AI tools efficiently. So you can just give it even more context. You could give it even more stuff you like, don't like. If you're using it for travel, you could give it dietary restrictions, all that sort of thing. And you can even go even more advanced and select what capabilities you want ChatGPT to have, which you can leave all these on and then switch them on and off as you use them with ChatGPT. So you could hit save there, and that's going to basically work across all the chats you use with ChatGPT, even in the free version. Now, the next area you're going to want to access to start using ChatGPT more like an operating system than a search engine is in the settings here. This is a brand new channel, and if you get anything from this video at all, do me a digital handshake, hit the subscribe button, and comment with where you are on your journey below. And you want to go down to personalizations. We've already set custom instructions a minute ago, but you can actually turn on a memory feature. And this is going to allow ChatGPT to remember previous conversations you have and reference your chat history. So you can actually manage your memories. If you've not done this before, then it will be empty. But as you go along now, ChatGPT will save your memories and your chats so you can reference them in future, which is great. So we could open a chat and say something like, I love productivity tools like Notion and Todoist, and actually feed that information into ChatGPT. Obviously, this could happen over much longer periods of time when more and more chats. Now, when you go to memories, it's got it in here and says loves productivity tools like Notion and Todoist. So now we open a fresh new chat. You can ask it, what are my favorite productivity tools? And it's going to be able to reference this information and remember some of the favorite things you do. Obviously, this is a very simple example of this, but as you're using it, if you're constantly referencing certain things or doing certain things, it's going to be able to remember this and bring this out in future conversations, which is really cool. It means you don't have to keep adding context, or if you've used this in the past, you could ask it things like, hey, what do you know about me? Or things for your business. Hey, I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z for my business. It will remember everything you've talked about your business to ChatGPT. Now, there's a couple more setup things you can do to improve your outputs as well. On the top left here, you've got different models, and there's different things that these are best suited for. And a lot of people select the wrong one or just leave it on the mundane GPT 4.0 for all their tasks. Now, for most of the things, GPT 4.0 is going to be the best option for quick, fast responses. If you want something that has a bit more reasoning or complex chains of thought in there, then you're going to want to switch to O3 for it to allow it to think for longer and actually produce more sort of structured, thought out, reasoned results. You've got O4 Mini, which is actually giving you a balance of more speed with advanced reasoning. And you've got O4 Mini High, which is going to be good for your coding and visual reasoning, as well as being able to test out some of the research previews. So if there's new models being released, you can get first access to them here, as well as older and sort of more modern models, depending on what's being updated. Obviously, these change quickly. There's more and more being added all the time. So it's good to check in and see what you're using and see what else is there to explore. 4.5 is in research preview, good for writing and exploring ideas. Now, the final thing as well you to understand about your setup is you can actually connect things like your Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive as well, so that you can actually import and share files into your ChatGPT. So if you want to reference documents or spreadsheets or PDFs or things like that, you can connect your Google Drive so you can go in there and find them really easily. Now, beyond the settings, here's the first cool trick you can use in ChatGPT. You can go into your notifications and you can hit manage tasks. And this is going to allow you to start creating tasks that ChatGPT can do and remind you of in the future. This could be to, like you said here, remind me to journal every night, keep an eye out for CJR tour dates. So if you've got something in particular you want to be reminded of, sports fiction, maybe there's tickets coming out for a show or anything you want, you could start asking it to create tasks for you. And you can do this actually right from the chat box as well. So for example, you could actually say, create a daily summary email to send to me at 8 a.m. with weather, calendar events, and top news headlines. And it's thought for a little while, and then it's got it. I'll send you a daily summary email, 8 a.m. with weather for Dallas, your calendar events for the day, and top news headlines. And you can even allow this to be a desktop notification, and that's going to drop into your inbox. So you can run these tasks, whether you want a daily update on a piece of particular news that you could get it to research for you. That's a pretty cool way to go and automate some things in your life. Now, one way that ChatGPT has been upgraded is its ability to use web search. Before, and a lot of the chats you'll ask it will just be using its internal training. So, for example, we'll just ask it to tell me about NASA. It's just using its internal knowledge base to actually give me this information. And the problem with this is it doesn't have access to everything on the web. So if things have changed since its last round of training data, it's not going to have access to that information. And also, it's just going to restrict some of its research. Whereas if we actually make sure that in our tools here, we got search the web on, we could actually run more prompts to say, not just tell me about NASA, we could actually say, find the latest news on NASA's Artemis program, summarize the key developments from the past month. It's going to go and search the web for this information and not just use its internal training data. So you can either make sure to turn it on, or you can make sure to ask it in your prompt to search the web for information. That's a really important step if you're doing quick research or you're wanting information from around the web. Make sure you're asking ChatGPT to do this for you. Now, ChatGPT isn't just a fancy search engine. You can actually use it much more in depth to do things like uploading files of yours and get it to analyze and give you feedback on them. For example, we could use it to analyze a CSV of my expenses to find the top 3 spending categories and show them in a pie chart. So I'll do this as an example for you here. We can upload this CSV file and get it analyzed. And you could do this. I use this for keyword data, thousands of keywords, and I get it to analyze it, pull out great information and great opportunities for my SEO business, for example. But this is a quick example of being able to upload a file and get it to analyze and output information for you and even visualize it. And there you go. It's created a pie chart for me. It's analyzed the data and pulled out some information. Really great for work stuff as well as analyzing personal stuff. If you've got a spreadsheet and you want to create stuff off it or analyze it, ask ChatGPT to start doing this stuff for you. Now, let's talk about something a bit more fun. Talk about image generation. So if you go into the tools bar here, you can say create an image, but obviously we could go and prompt it and say create a cool image. Actually, let's try one here. I've got a prompt here that lets show you the sort of images it could create really quickly. I've got generate an image of futuristic floating city in the clouds with waterfall pouring off the edges and airships flying nearby. And you can see in a matter of seconds, it creates this pretty cool futuristic image. It's pretty fun to play around with. I use it often to make some sort of graphics for my work or to illustrate points on my YouTube thumbnails, things like that. But you can actually go a little bit further. You could upload a picture of yourself and ask it to start editing things as well. So you could upload an image and ask ChatGPT to help you start editing it. So you could ask it, can you make the text in this image editable? And it's going to go away, analyze the image, and give you some options of what you want to edit in the image. You can see here that it's actually given us some options of what we want to edit. It's going to offer to remove the text, even create a Photoshop or a layered PNG file with text editable layers. If you're a designer and you want to change something in Photoshop, you can get it to even create a Canva version, so you can actually have that text editable in Canva. So I could just say in here, can you remove the existing text, please? And then you can see it's going to be able to do things like regenerate the image with text removed, or create downloadable files that you can edit yourself. Next, let's talk about video, because with ChatGPT, you can also use SORA, which allows you to not just create images, but actually allows you to create videos from a prompt. So you can see some of the examples that have been AI generated videos that have been created using Sora. I mean, some of these are crazy. Like, you can see why, like, obviously this isn't real, but like with the right context and people in the right positions, it can be very hard to actually spot the differences between some AI videos. And let me give you an example of how this might work. You could literally put your prompt in there, please make a video of a Mexican man riding a glowing llama with a smile on his face, and get it to start creating a video almost instantly. In less than a minute, it's actually going to create you some options for your video. Let's see how these have come out. These are pretty funny, except for the glowing llama there. Like, they look fairly real, you know. It might be hard to distinguish some of this stuff. And you can even go and recut, you can remix, you can loop these, you can do all sorts of fun stuff, which are great for your social media, or just even flipping playing around at work. If you're bored, get on Sora, because it's a lot of fun, and explore what other people have been making too. These are all other things that people have been making. I mean, this is crazy. Like, it's just cool. Like, I can't, like, look at this. It's a crazy, like, I was talking to a friend earlier today about, like, remember when we had to use Encarta CDs and we have to put them in the computer and search on our Encarta device to, like, try and find information? Now information is so easy to get. We can actually be creating this sort of stuff, not just using computers to find bits of information. It's wild. Next, let's talk about something called GPTs. You've probably heard about custom GPTs that allow you to combine instructions and extra knowledge and any combination of skills. So you can see, if you go into the GPT section of ChatGPT, there's loads already. Actually, there's loads of things that you could just use straight out the box, whether they help you create images, humanize your writing, check your writing, create whimsical diagrams that you might not be able to just do with the normal setup of ChatGPT. Now, one way to show this is simply just ask this custom GPT, what can you do that a default ChatGPT can't? And it'll tell you what it specializes in. Creating diagrams, professional quality visuals, that gives you a different output to if you just ask ChatGPT normally. So it's actually given us some examples. This is really handy to test things out. Show me a flow of a job application process, and it's going to be able to create you a supposedly whimsical flowchart on this suggestion. And this is something that actually it's connecting to an outside app to help build these charts, which is another cool thing you can do with custom GPTs. You can connect them to outside platforms to create and design stuff, as well as have them inside ChatGPT. You can see basically ChatGPT is tapping into whimsical here and building this flowchart for you. Really great sort of stuff if you're looking at processes. And that brings me on to other sorts of things you can connect to your ChatGPT. You could do this from inside GPT, or you could do it in something like Zapier. You can create things with ChatGPT. So we could actually use Zapier to create a custom workflow here. We could create Zaps that actually do something automated for us and build it out for ourselves. So we could say, can you create a Zap that checks my email, writes a reply, and creates a draft in Gmail? And we can ask Zapier to start outlining this process that incorporates their system and OpenAI's API to ChatGPT to start building this stuff out. So you can see here, it's suggesting that we create a new email, analyze and return data, and this is connected into OpenAI or ChatGPT, and then is going to help you create a draft. So this is a really easy way to connect things up. Before, if you were trying to connect Zaps up and all this sort of stuff, it could get a bit fiddly to do it. Now you can kind of ask their Copilot to use ChatGPT within your system to build out this stuff, which is awesome. Now, back to GPTs, you can actually create your own custom GPT in here really easily as well. Just go to the create button in the top right, and it's going to give you the create and configure area. Now, you could go and ask it to do anything. So we'll just take the example here, make a creative who helps generate visuals for new products, or make a software engineer who helps format my code. So if we go and use that, we could ask it to actually create itself. So again, this is even easier than what it was. but you could sort of almost use even the voice function or brain dump into ChatGPT in the GPT section and get it to create a model of what you're, or a GPT of what you're trying to create. So you can see here, how does the name Visual Concept Studio sound for this GPT? Would you like to go with that or try something else? And then you can ask it to start working. You can even select the different models that you want it to work with. Plus, there's the configure button here, which you can see we've filled in already a bit. You can give it the name. What name did we have for it? And obviously you can do all this manually as well. If you want to add your own files, you can add files for reference down the bottom here. You can give it a description. You can then have all the instructions in here, which, act as a creative visual designer and even offer extra knowledge. This is the really key bit, that if you've got some really particular knowledge that you want to include in your GPT, maybe you are a course provider and you want people to be able to access your course knowledge through a GPT, you could upload all your files in here for it to be included in the knowledge base. Now, the next thing people get confused about, because it's called projects, and people often think projects and GPTs are very similar because Claude has Claude projects, and they kind of get mixed up into the whole mishmash of what you can do. But projects are very different to GPTs. As it says here, it keeps chats, files, and custom instructions in one place to use them for ongoing work or just keep things tidy. So you can think of it as like custom GPTs allow you to do lots of different projects or work across lots of different jobs or projects in your life and work. A project is for a single long running thing. So you can see here, birthday party planning, or you could use it for a single client. In my case, if I had a single client that I wanted to keep all that information in the same place, you could keep everything there. So let's say like writing an SEO book. If I was writing a book and I wanted ChatGPT to help me research and create the book, we could make that a project. Now, this isn't just a place to store chats, but one of the big difference is between GPTs and projects is any chats you have in here, any conversations will actually be stored in this area, in this project file. Think of it like a filing system. So I need to write an SEO book. And as we have that conversation, it's going to then store that conversation, you can see on the bottom left here, in my folder of this project. So when we go back to writing a book, you can see the conversation is still there. Now, what's cool is you can also tailor these projects. So you can ask it to focus on a particular topic or use a particular tone, etc., like we talked about before. But you can also add files. So let's say I had a big knowledge base of, like, I got every transcript from my YouTube, for example, that I want to give information about my book. I could put that transcript in there. I could put files in there, all sorts of information to actually start giving more context and information outside of general training knowledge in the web, basically. So that's really cool. And the other thing is you can use all the features in ChatGPT projects, whereas they can be a bit limited in certain areas of custom GPTs. Now, one advantage that ChatGPT has over competitors like Claude is its voice function. You can actually dictate your prompts to ChatGPT. So I often do this if I want to brain dump or I can't be bothered to type because it's just quicker to talk. So you could turn this on and say, can you give me all the latest roundup and news from the SEO industry, including any core updates that are coming up? And if you just hit the tick button there after you've talked to it, then it's going to write the prompt. It's going to transcribe the prompt for you. And this could go on for ages. You could talk for a few minutes and get a mega prompt going and ask ChatGPT what you want it to do. And it's just going to work like it does normally. So that's pretty cool. Now, the other thing here as well in the voice section, and the voice prompt is great, but you can actually use voice mode. So we can actually have a conversation with ChatGPT. So I could turn my microphone on here and say, hi, ChatGPT, how are you? I'm good, thanks. I would like you to help me learn French, please. Can you start talking me through some of the basic phrases in French? Bonjour, merci, s'il vous plaît. So you could actually have conversations with ChatGPT, which brings me on to another thing. You could even use it to role play a scenario. We could go through another one of maybe a job interview and ask it to conduct a job interview with you. Can you help me with a mock job interview for a position as a bartender? I won't go on and on with that one, but you can see you could use it for all sorts of things, whether you wanted to practice your sales calls or learn a language or job interview practice, or you could just use it to ask and answer questions in the same way that you use using text as well. Right then, another hidden feature are the keyboard shortcuts. If you hit Control / or Command /, it's going to bring up the keyboard shortcuts that you can use within ChatGPT. This is just a handy little nugget if you want to delete chats, toggle sidebars, set custom instructions. If we want to open a new chat here, look, we could do Command, Shift, and 0, and it's going to open a new chat, which is really handy, literally, for what I'm doing now. I just learned that one, to be fair. Now, if you want to learn anything really quickly, then you're going to want to turn on something called deep research mode. And this is going to allow you to get the most in-depth research rather than just quick scan of the web and a quick sort of look around the information that's out there. This is going to actually create you a research report. And I really love this feature because there's so many different ways you can use it, and you can connect it not just to web search, but to loads and loads of different apps, including your Gmail, Canva, Dropbox, all sorts of places. It's even really good for things like not just researching, educating, learning. You can actually use it for your shopping choices as well. For example, you could turn on your microphone here and start prompting with your voice and say, I'm looking for a microphone. I've got a new YouTube channel and I'm not happy with the sound quality. My budget is under $150 and I'd like it to be a condenser mic that is going to have nice smooth audio, but also plug into my USB-C drive of my MacBook Air. Can you find and rank some of the best top options for me for this process? And so you can actually do your voice prompt here, which is cool. It's going to transcribe it for you into your deep research area. And it's a quick way to get all the things you're looking for. So if you're like, I need this, and this, and I can't bother to write it all out, put it into ChatGPT Deep Research and get it to go and do this deep research for you on your behalf. It might even ask you some questions just to clarify what you're actually looking for. Again, you could go and answer these using dictation again. Yeah, they'll be for talking head videos and my screen shares that I do for on my computer. Plug and play setup. I don't want it to be too complicated for me, really. It's got to just run on my laptop. And yeah, it'll mostly stay at my desk, but it might need to be portable as well. So you can answer those questions again really easily with ChatGPT. So you're not having to type and fiddle around and all that sort of stuff. And boom, it's going to go now and do its deep product research for us so that I don't have to trawl through every manufacturer website, sort of scale down my list of what I want and Google this and check that and look at what connections it all has. It's going to do this all for me and give me some top options and recommendations, as it says here. And a cool little thing here is if you forget to add something to a project, you can click add to project here and say like, oh, I did that research. I wish that was in my project. I can go into add it or add a new project. If you get stuck into something and you're like, I wish that was all in a project, you can easily do it from the top right here, which is another cool little nifty feature that's just making all of ChatGPT so much more usable than a lot of the other LLMs out there, and probably why it's one of the market leader at the moment. Now, while it does deep research, because it's going to take 20 minutes or so to do that, we can go off and do some other stuff. And one of those things is write some code. So yes, ChatGPT can write code for you. So let's go down and select O4 Mini High because we want to do some coding. And I'm going to ask it here to write a Python script that renames all the files and folders to lowercase and replaces spaces with hyphens. Have you ever had a list of files that you're like, oh, I've got to change all the names on them? I had that problem the other day. And it's going to take you hours to go through and click and rename stuff. You can ask ChatGPT to write some code for that. You could get it to do anything. You can get it to start creating you dashboards, start writing apps, all sorts of things, creating web pages, for example, or create scripts that you can use for various tasks on your computer. And you can see here, boom, it's going and creating the script. You could ask it to start writing you a web page. You could say, can you code me a home page for my SEO business? I am a freelance consultant who specializes in deep target SEO. And it's going to then be able to go think about it and probably start creating and writing the code for a website for me. And you can see here, boom, it's gone off and done that almost instantly. I mean, it's insane the power that we've got now that, we could ask it to build a whole website and even write the copy for us, generate images, everything. And I'm not sure the design on this is going to be amazing, but we can hit the preview button and start seeing the homepage of our website that it's sort of wireframed it out. We didn't give it any design instructions, but you can start to see like it's kind of built us the bones of a website there just off like a 3-line prompt, which is crazy. What else could we do? We could get it to create us spreadsheets. A lot of people, you get a lot of information or data from ChatGPT. First, let's start with this idea of create us a spreadsheet with my monthly fitness progress, date, weight, workouts, calories burned. and see how it performs in creating a spreadsheet here that we can start to fill in. So if you're not very good at making spreadsheets, or you can't be bothered with Excel or Google Sheets, you can actually get it to start building and laying out this sort of stuff for you. Going to download it in a CSV template. We could even get it to add information into each cell if we wanted to do it in here, or we could use it in whatever software you're using for your spreadsheets. And of course, as I showed you earlier, once you've filled out a spreadsheet, you can then upload it and ask it to analyze and give you information and insights back. So you could go through your fitness progress, fill this all in, upload it back into ChatGPT and get insights of where you're doing well, where you're not, and even create charts and all sorts of stuff that could even be coded up, as we just saw. Now, when it comes to images as well, you can actually copy an image and place it straight into ChatGPT and ask it to actually get the text and analyze all the information in an image. So you could simply say, copy and paste an image in there. Can you extract the text from this image and summarize what it's about, and let it go away and find all that information to pull out of an image? Right? You know, have you ever sat down and like copied information out of an image and all sorts of that sort of stuff because you want that text or that information, but you don't want it in a JPEG or something? You can get it to go and extract the text like this and even summarize. So great for like pulling information out of infographics that you want to use from something else. And we could even go and say like, okay, can you create me my own info graphic from this? We could then, if we had text that we wanted to put into an infographic or something, we could go the other way and get it to start creating an infographic back for us. And you can see here, it's then going to go away and start generating our own graphic for what we need, and even gone and created the logos that we need in there as well, which is a pretty cool way to manipulate and use information to get free quick graphics for your business, for your work, whatever it is. And back over on our deep research, this is finally finished now, and it actually took 6 minutes and did 72 different searches to find us our best options for what we came up with. And it's actually picked out some pretty good devices here. And I know that, like, yeah, Blue Yeti is quite a common one for YouTubers. Rode, obviously good quality company, and it's given us a breakdown of why each of these is good and final tips for what we have. Then we could even go and say, like, can you put this information and data into a table for us so it's easy to compare? So now we can get it to give us a nice easy comparison. So once you've done your research, you could chat with this information to get it in a more usable sort of way, or a more understandable way as well, if you're still not sure. And you can see it's pulled out a nice table for us that gives us an overview of everything, what things are best for the sound quality and the pricing, so we can get a really quick overview of everything here tailored to our specific needs. Okay, let's talk about prompting, and let's talk about chain of thought prompting. We've been doing some very basic ways of using ChatGPT from a prompt perspective at the moment. There's something called chain of thought, and this is quite important because, as we know, AI can often hallucinate or come up with weird answers. This is going to help you not just get the answer, but explain why and how it's arrived at its conclusion. Plus, you can sort of reverse engineer it and give ChatGPT step-by-step instructions that you want it to follow. So you could say something really simple. A classroom has 2 blue chairs for every 3 red chairs. If there are a total of 30 chairs in the classroom, how many blue chairs are there? Describe your reasoning step by step. That's a key thing. We want it to describe its reasoning. And of course, we could go back the other way and say, like, actually, I want you to use these steps to determine the reasoning. This is useful for, you can see here, complex maths problems that you want to know the answer. It's almost like showing your work in maths class at school. You always have to show your work. This is getting ChatGPT to show its work, and you can use it in a number of different prompt scenarios. You could say, like, explain step by step how to figure out which train gets to Paris to Berlin, considering travel time, transfers, departure frequency. You could go and get it to do that and give you its reasoning by, like, how to work out the best travel times and the steps you could go through to get your answer, basically. And if you're struggling to actually write good prompts, or you're getting a bit bogged down in trying to write the perfect prompt, then you can actually just use ChatGPT to write you great prompts for whatever you're trying to achieve. Again, I like to use the voice dictation mode to actually say, I want to achieve this. Can you write me a prompt that would get me great output? So, for example, stupid idea, but I want a prompt that gets ChatGPT to behave like a sarcastic personal trainer. Write down the best version of that prompt for me. And it's going to go and create me like a nicely polished prompt that kind of achieves my goal. So you could kind of give it like, I just want to achieve this. Can you write that prompt for me? And you could even look, go and take that prompt straight away, and we can try it out straight away and get our welcome to hell. I mean, your fitness journey. Congratulations. And you've got that snarky fitness trainer that we've just asked it to create. But that's a fun example, but you could use it for all sorts of different things, whether that's for work or school or your home life. So there really are endless ways you can use ChatGPT. Once you start playing with custom GPTs, using the dictation tools, all these sorts of things, incorporating your memories, you'll really start to pick it up really, really quickly within a few hours once you understand all the different areas that work and all the different things you could do. And even after this session, which we started with a blank ChatGPT account, we could say, what do you know about me? And ChatGPT is going to actually understand all the stuff we've been talking about today and give you sort of a breakdown of everything it knows about me so far, which is great for my other work. Now, that might be a little scary to some people, so there are some privacy things you need to be aware of, which I should just mention. You can use temporary chat here if you want it. It's like incognito mode, that it's not going to appear in your chat history or use it to update ChatGPT's memory or even train models. If you're privacy concerned, then you just want to tweak one final setting. If you go into your data controls at the bottom here, it has improved model for everyone. Now, by default, this is turned on, which means all your content is used to train the ChatGPT models. Although they say it makes it better for you and everyone else who uses it, it's a bit of a privacy concern, isn't it? I don't really like having that turn on, so I usually turn that off because I don't want that training the GPT models in the future.